welcome to Vlogmas Day 17. So it seems we're in between projects at the moment, so I thought I would take today to tell you about my experience with the Hinterland dress. You saw yesterday the final garment, and also tell you about the next project. There are so many Hinterland dresses out there on the internet. I don't think you really need my review, but I'll just tell you about my experience with it in case you haven't happened to make it yet. So I have the dress on here. I used a cotton flannel shirting from Stylemaker Fabrics. It's 100% cotton. I made the size 20. I made the sleeved version with the half placket, and I didn't make any modifications to the pattern. So first I'll tell you a little bit about my fitting journey. So during Vlogtober, you may have seen, I made 3 different muslins, and I have videos for each one. For each one, I made just the bodice without attaching any of the skirt to check how the bodice fits. That is what the pattern recommends. I made a size 16, I made a size 16 with a full bust adjustment, and I made a size 20. And on the size 20, I added a ½ inch to one of the shoulders and left the other shoulder as is. So the 16 and the 16 with the full bust adjustment didn't fit at all, not great at all. The size 20 seemed best. The size 20 with the ½ inch shoulder seemed like the best option at the time. So then when I went to go cut out the pattern out of my fashion fabric, I completely forgot that I was going to add anything to the shoulder and just cut out a straight size 20, and that's with no modifications at all. So after constructing the garment, the size 20 fits completely different than the size 20 muslin. The size 20 muslin did have some issues, but I decided to just ignore it and move on because I had already spent so much time. So the size 20 in the actual fashion fabric fits pretty good. It doesn't have any of the same issues that the muslin had. And I'm not really sure why that is, but I think it might have to do with not attaching the skirt. Someone did leave me a comment on one of those videos about how once they attached the skirt to the bodice, the fit was totally different. So because the pattern recommends just cutting out the bodice and checking the fit, I don't recommend that. I recommend making the full bodice with the full skirt attached, because as you can see from the comparison between the size 20 muslin that's just a bodice and the size 20 in the full garment, the fit is totally different. And I even didn't add the ½ inch on the shoulder, and the shoulders actually fit on this one. But overall, the size 20 is a little bit big for me. I'm not super worried about it though. I'm just gonna be wearing it this winter pretty much in the house because of COVID. I don't really go anywhere, so I'm not really worried about it being too big, but in the future, I would probably consider maybe making just a size down. So I would consider making the size 18 in a wearable muslin and seeing how that fits. As far as the construction goes, it's a very easy pattern. I didn't have any problems with it. There were only 2 places where I got a little tripped up, and that was the sleeve facing and the gathers on the skirt. So for the sleeve facing, I was just having my own mind trouble with it for some reason, and I don't think anyone else probably would. It's constructed differently than the facing on the neckline, and I don't know, it seemed like something a little bit different than I was used to. And for the gathers on the skirt, I just used the thread that I was using to construct the garment, so it kept breaking in a few places. Next time I'd probably do the dental floss with the zigzag stitch, or just use a stronger thread to do the gathers, because it's very fiddly to gather it up and attach it to the bodice and line everything up properly. The other thing that I was having trouble with, which was my own project, was working on plaid matching. So I spent a lot of time matching up the plaid, pinning it, sewing it, ripping it out, sewing it again to make sure that everything lined up on the side seams and across the bodice to the sleeve, and mirrored properly down the center front. And so that added a lot of time to the construction. Overall, it took me 15 days of Vlogmas, which, as you know, I'm sewing for 1 hour a day, so that's 15 hours. But I started Vlogmas having already constructed the bodice and cutting it out and all of that, so it took more than 15 hours to finish. That's a long time, but like I said, I think most of that was because of the plaid matching. So if you're just using like a solid fabric or anything like that, it wouldn't take as long. It's a really great pattern. It's a nice casual dress, loose fitting, even if it's probably the proper size. Mine's extra loose fitting. So it's really adaptable to different fabrics, and so I think it's a really great pattern. I'll probably end up making more of them in the future. And so now it's time to reveal the next project. So I still really want to make a holiday dress, even though it's just going to be me, my husband, and my cat for Christmas. I was thinking this was a good opportunity to just make a new pattern in a wearable muslin fabric that is still festive. It's December 17th though, and so I don't really have a lot of time, especially if I'm going to stick to my 1 hour a day, but I'm going to get started on it, and if it's not a Christmas dress, maybe it'll be a New Year's dress. So I'm going to make the named clothing kilo dress, and I'm going to be making it out of this. This is the Telio Paola Peak Liverpool knit in Hermes red. And you can see it has this really nice texture. So this will be my kilo dress. So I have to admit to you, I'm not super experienced with knits. I don't own a serger. And I may be pulling out the vintage zigzag attachment for my Singer 99K. You saw in a couple days ago, I used the buttonhole attachment. There's also a zigzag attachment, which I actually haven't even used. I've used one of my other machines for any zigzagging that I've needed, or the stretch knit setting on my other machine for any sort of knit projects. I've done a few, but not that many. So anyways, this Telio fabric is pretty inexpensive, so I thought it would be a decent option for a wearable muslin of this kilo dress. Now I know the kilo dress is it's a pretty old pattern, and there's about 1 million of them on the internet. So today I'm going to work on printing out the PDF pattern, taping it all together, and getting that sorted out and checking the sizing, looking at if I need to make any adjustments. So I'm going to work on that today. It'll definitely take an hour, if not longer. So I'm not going to film any of that because that's boring. So hopefully tomorrow I will be cutting out the fabric, which I will take you along with. And that will be, let's see, it'll be December 18th if I cut out the fabric. I'll have the 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23-ish to finish. And then I can wear it the 24th and maybe the 25th, because once you make it, you want to wear it more than once, right? All right, so I'm going to go get started on that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.